Thank you. Hi, my name is Lukas Weniger, and I'm speaking today in order to represent Bankhaus von der Heydt. Even though we do offer a lot of traditional banking services at Bankhaus von der Heydt, we are a little different than traditional banks. And this is because we see the future of banking on distributed ledger. With a history of over 250 years, we're one of the oldest banks in Europe. And such a long history can only be achieved by constant change, adaptation, and innovation. The most recent development in our history was the full transition from the traditional private bank to the digitized private bank of the 21st century. And this goal was achieved by process automation, meaning that all our internal business processes are automated to a very high degree, and the use of blockchain technology. We have developed several services in relation to blockchain technology. Actually, the first time when we got in touch with it was related to one of our traditional banking services, the financial structuring and the issuance of securities, which we are doing based on a platform which we built in Luxembourg. And because we always want to be as efficient and fast as possible, we were thinking about possibilities to reduce the amount of involved intermediaries in this process. And naturally, we came across blockchain. And that was the moment when we realized the huge advantages and the huge potential of tokenization. But tokenization was not enough. We wanted to put the whole delivery versus payment process on chain. So in the next step, we developed a crypto custody, which is up and running since 2019. We do hold the preliminary license from the BaFin, and we can store, and we do store, cryptocurrencies and security token in this custody since 2019. The next thing which will come in addition to the custody is crypto brokerage, which we can expect within the next month, where we enable our clients to purchase cryptocurrencies directly from our custody. And there is still one missing piece for the delivery versus payment process, and that's the payment. And this has actually been finished very recently when we developed the payment on ledger module. But what does payment on ledger actually mean? Because payment on ledger is possible since 2008. And it was the first use case of blockchain technology when the Bitcoin protocol was introduced, because Bitcoin is essentially payment on ledger. The problem is that Bitcoin is, from its nature, not compatible with the traditional financial system. This means that all traditional players, such as banks, funds, or traditional exchanges, are using fiat currency. So, in order to bring the huge advantages and the huge potential of blockchain technology to the traditional world, we had to transfer money on the blockchain. And we did so based on our e-money license, which we hold as a fully licensed credit institution. We are able to take fiat money, hold it in an escrow account, and issue tokens in the corresponding amount. Therefore, each token represents €1, and for a token, you can always redeem €1 out of the escrow account. So much about the theory. Let's take a look at some actual use cases. And the first use case which I would like to talk about today is cross-currency payment. I think we all know how long it can take if you, for example, want to send a transaction from Germany to America. And it does not only take very long, it also comes with high fees. And the use of our stablecoin solution can reduce both the time and the fee significantly. So maybe let's go through the process which a company had to undertake in order to send a cross-currency payment by using our stablecoin. In the first step, the company would send money to our escrow account, and we would then issue stable coins back to the company. In the second step, the EU company sends the stable coins to the US company, and then there is only one intermediary involved, a market maker, which will make sure that the euro amount is exchanged to US dollar token and then transfers the US dollar token to the US company. And because this whole process is on blockchain, it can be automated to a high degree. In the last step, the US company can then take the US dollar tokens and exchange it back to US dollar fiat currency. And even though at this point of time I cannot say too much about it, I can tell that we are working together with partners on this solution and that we can expect some announcement within the near future. Another interesting use case is again related to the delivery versus payment process, which I have mentioned, and that is to use the stablecoin on digital asset platforms. This means on platforms where security tokens are sold by issuers. So again, let's go through this process step by step. If an investor is interested in such a platform, the first step would be to create an account and open a wallet. This wallet will be operated by us, but it can be provided white label. In the next step, the investor will send some fiat transaction to the escrow account, and we will issue stable coins onto his wallet. Then the investor has the possibility to choose among the different options on the platform and purchase whatever he would like to purchase. And now is the moment which I talked about where we kind of digitize the whole delivery versus payment process, because both the transaction of the product and the transaction of money is done in the same IT infrastructure. And that's the very new thing here, because traditionally we use several different IT infrastructures in order to transfer the security and in order to transfer the money. After the purchase has been made, the issuer now holds the stablecoins in his wallet, and he can either use them to send interest and dividend payments, or he can send them back to the von der Heydt escrow account, and then over our paying agent, he will get back fiat currency onto his bank account. But so much about the banking point of view. I'm now happy to hand over to Radko, the CEO of Bitbond, who will elaborate a bit more about the technological setup.
Great. Thanks a lot, Lukas. Also very happy to be part of Crypto Assets Conference today. And of course, very happy about the partnership that we have started with Bankhaus von der Heydt approximately 1 year ago. Together with Bankhaus von der Heydt, we have developed the solution that Lukas just presented, and we have developed the technology behind the idea. So while Bankhaus von der Heydt was driving the use cases that Lukas just presented, and has the, I would say, real-life application in their business that they already have, and then some new business lines that they are creating on top of the stablecoin. We as Bitbond, we provide them with the software and the technology that is necessary. At the end of the day, it's a token minting process. And we have automated it so that Bankhaus Heydt don't need to do manual interactions. And this slide that we're showing here is a simplified technological architecture for doing these on-chain payments. The first step is typically that an investor, for example, or generally a customer of Bankhaus Heydt would make a deposit in fiat, so in euros or in dollars or other fiat currencies. This deposit would then arrive at the bank account of Heydt, and that will trigger a webhook notification. This webhook notification will go into a Bitbond application as a next step, where we will see the details of the deposit, resolve it, and allocate it to a particular customer. We can either do that through a reference code. Everybody knows that when you send a bank transfer, there's a field where you can put in free text, and we can use a reference code. What we're also planning is a setup where the reference code is not needed at all, where we would be working with so-called virtual IBANs. In the case of a virtual IBAN, someone who's sending a deposit has their own dedicated IBAN, which then resolves to something that's called a pool account. But the advantage is when you put in a wrong transfer code or you forget to put it in at all, then the allocation to which customer has sent that transfer can still be made. Regardless of whether you use virtual IBANs or a transfer subject, after the transaction has been resolved and allocated to a particular user, then what happens is we build a blockchain transaction. Typically, we would be using the Stellar protocol here. The Stellar protocol is optimized specifically for this use case of on-chain payments. And the activity that a bank would be doing in this context is also called an anchor. An anchor pretty much works as an on and off ramp between the fiat world and the digital money world. So we have seen the transaction, we resolved it, allocated it, and then we will transmit an equivalent amount of tokens to be created to the specific chain. Once the transaction has been created, it needs to be signed, and for that we send it to the key management solution that we have established. In the key management solution, the transaction will be signed and submitted to the blockchain, and with that, tokens will be minted. And the minting process will create the exact equivalent amount of currency that has been sent in the initial bank deposit. So let's assume there has been a deposit of 100 euros, then 100 tokens will be minted that are representing these 100 euros. And then as a final step, once the transaction has been successfully submitted to the network and has been accepted on the blockchain, then there is another webhook notification going to the wallet of the user. And this will show the user the balance. And they will see a euro balance. However, that's not just a fiat balance, it's a balance in stablecoins. And when the balance exists in stablecoins, it can be utilized exactly in those use cases that Lukas just presented to us, because then you also all of a sudden have a payment method which is perfectly stable in its value, but it has all the technological advantages and benefits of a blockchain-based payments, meaning it can settle instantaneously. You can send it across the world. You can send it to pretty much everybody who has a wallet for this particular protocol, which is also one of the reasons why we have chosen a protocol that is very widely adopted and that a lot of people and organizations are already compatible with today. So this architecture here is for the token minting part. Then, of course, there's also the token burning part, which we don't explicitly show here. However, it's pretty much the same process, just in reverse. So a user would log into his wallet. On the one hand, they could send the token somewhere, of course, but they may also need that money back in their bank account or in any bank account. So they would create a withdrawal in the wallet, and then all of these notifications would run again almost in reverse order. So the tokens would be burned, and a webhook notification would be sent to the fiat account that is held by Bankhaus Heydt in order to trigger the actual withdrawal to the bank account that the user specified. So, of course, there's even more layers in real life to this than are just presented here on the slide. So this is a bit of a simplification, but I think it conveys a bit the idea of what is happening on a technological level. And the main message here is that everything is automated. So all of these steps happen in a fully automated way. And this also ensures that there's 100% data integrity, and that there's always 100% match between the fiat euro balance and the balance in euro tokens on chain, which of course is extremely important because you have a 100% backed stablecoin here, where the balance of fiat that represents it is 100%. And we don't want to get into a situation like we've seen with Tether, and sometimes also a few other stable coins where there are certain doubts whether the outstanding coin balance is actually 100% backed by a fiat balance, which in this case, we're definitely making sure. So thanks a lot. That was it from the technical side. And I think we have a few minutes left. So in case there are questions to Lukas or myself, we'll be happy to take them now.
All right, thank you.